Welcome to the show, Jimmy. How are you?
I'm fantastic.
It's been a long
Thank
time going.
I really appreciate it.
Well,
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it too. Well, thank you for coming on. I know it's been a little hectic. I think actually I want to start the beginning. Beginning. You have been in like a music guitar icon in Connecticut for quite a while. Like,
I've been playing
I
a
would
long
like.
time.
Did you used to rent a room down at Vizzini Brothers, down at the band rooms? That's where I
Absolutely.
first heard your name, and I heard you got to see this guy. You got to see this guy. I mean, that was the place to go back then. Anyhow,
It
it was like a
was
little
all
club.
there. That was a
Who,
lot of fun.
yeah. Who were you playing with then? I can't.
It depends what year you went there. Both joined forces, both versions of it had rehearsed there.
Yeah.
The original lineup that got started back in like 1981. We had it was a bunch of friends that all came from other bands. One of them was Cry, and I was away actually on in a road band for quite a while, like after say from like 1920 something like that. I was living on a road playing the whole New England circuit with a band called the Shoppers. I literally played every single night all over that area, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, that whole circuit. And then I
don't remember
joined.
that at all.
What's that?
I don't remember that band.
No,
I know Joint Forces. I remember that band.
Yeah, well, first off, the Shoppers was based out of New Hampshire, okay. And I ended up hooking up with this band from that had gotten a big guy working with a big production guy out of Montreal, Canada. So I was actually living in Montreal, and recording there and everything, and after that was, on hold for a while. I came back to Connecticut, and these guys that were in Crier said, "Hey, we're going to start this band. It's going to call Joy."
Oh.
Are you there? Yeah, sorry.
I can edit that.
Okay. Yeah, so these guys said they were going to start a band, Joint Forces, and they didn't care if the band even lasted a year. Let's just get together and have fun. It was a cover band. So we got together, and the band lasted exactly 1 year. We went and played, and we were a hit. I mean, a real big hit. Then the singer, Mark Diamond, had left to go to California to try to do something. And we replaced him with a singer that I worked with in that band, Teaser, from Montreal.
Okay.
And that's when Bell Attack was formed. We formed the band. Yeah, I had built up sort of a reputation pretty quick once coming back from playing around. So that 1 year, a lot of people came out and saw me, playing, because I was playing. Back then I was playing some stuff that other people weren't playing. I was really into the whole shredding thing back then, before all these shred guitar players. I was
I actually remember that. I mean, I can verify that was the thing. That was one of the things about your playing, that you got to see this guy for those reasons alone.
Yeah, I mean, it was something that I worked on. I wanted to play like that. We could talk about my influences after on how I did that. So that's what Bell Attack formed. And then the original singer from Joint Forces, Mark Diamond, had come back home from California. So we decided to get him back in. And that's when Joint Forces became an all original band. We were the first band to come out in Connecticut to do all original music. There were bands doing like some originals and cover tunes, but we wanted to come out and do all original music, an hour and a half, have a couple bands open for us. We took a big chance. A lot of the club owners didn't think it was going to work. It was kind of risky, but we did it, and it went over. It like took off like crazy. The band became huge, and then from there, we got hooked up with Joan Jett's management.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we became we went out on tour with Joan Jett. The guy who was with the Joan Jett company, he partnered with somebody that owned tour buses. So we actually went out with Joan without a record deal. We had no record deal, but we were on tour.
That's pretty cool. I heard she's pretty cool though.
Everything was great, you know.
You guys actually, weren't you guys in the movie? I heard rumor you guys were actually, some of you guys were in the band in the movie or something. Was that
the whole band was? Yeah.
Light of Day, right?
Yeah. So we get done with the tour with Joan. We did a whole East Coast tour with her, and a few months later than that, we got a call saying that Joan was going to be in a movie, and for a band. So we had to send in our stuff, even though we just got off tour with Joan. We still had to send in pictures and all this stuff, and they accepted us. So the next thing you know, we're flying to Chicago where they filmed it, and we're going to be in a national motion picture with Michael J. Fox and Joan Jett. So that was a really big deal. You know, there was now, even though the movie had mixed reviews, because it was the first time Michael J. Fox ever tried to do a serious role. Everybody liked his Family Ties,
the cutie thing.
Yeah, it was more of a comical thing. This wasn't that at all. It was a serious role. It had a serious script. You know, a mother who had gotten cancer, and so it was more of that type of movie. But it was still an incredible experience. I mean, just getting to go to the Hard Rock Cafe in New York for the movie premiere party was an experience I'll never forget in my life. Walking the red carpet, and it was mental. I mean, the cameras going off when we got out of that limousine. I'll never forget this. We're standing on the red carpet, and they got it all roped off. This is at the entrance to the Hard Rock, and we're just standing there. Nothing's happening, So somebody says, "Hey, who are you guys?" And we say, "Oh, we're Join Forces." And then somebody goes, "Join Forces, you're the Huns in the movie." And as soon as somebody said that the Huns, that was the name of the band in the movie.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Thousands of cameras started going off, like flash bulbs, like everywhere. And I'll never forget it as long as I live. It was the wildest experience, just seeing all those millions of flash bulbs going off at you and stuff. But, it was very cool. The party was incredible. Carly Simon, Ronnie Wood from the Stones, Paul Schaefer, from the David Letterman show. He had two girls, one girl on each side of him. He was just like he is on the Letterman show. Honest to God. Yeah, it was a great time. And I got to tell you, I got along with Joan very well. Her and I was the only one that she actually spent some time with out of the band. We had a very good communication. And Michael J. Fox took a lot of time with me. We talked guitars, and I actually wrote out some tablature stuff for him. It was like a great experience in my life.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, because he played guitar originally, didn't he? Like, a little bit, like not professionally, but.
No, he did. He played guitar. Now, he didn't play in Back to the Future. That was all kind of mimicked. But in this movie, he did play some guitar.
Yeah.
So
I thought I heard that, but it wasn't confirmed. It wasn't confirmed thing.
Yeah, he did. So, talk about a once in a lifetime experience. That was really cool.
That is so cool. It's funny because I remember that. I remember hearing all the stuff, like more like the legend of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you guys were this and that, and then I remember seeing the movie. I liked the movie, but I think it was ahead of its time, being serious and being rock and roll at the same time. Everything was like the beach movies, like Hard Bodies, or it was Family Ties. It was nothing that was like serious and rock together. There was a niche for it,
Yeah.
Great. That's pretty cool. Who was in Join Forces at that time?
The first version, the one that was in the movie. Well, I'll tell you how it started. The band actually started with Michael Karpiak, a longtime friend. He was the drummer.
I know Mike. I can step back a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, Michael, Mark Diamond, Mark Franco, my best friend that just passed away,
Oh,
and
sorry.
and then later on, Michael Karpiak um, was replaced by Joe Aparo, and so that version with Joey Aparo is the one that was in the movie.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just talk about an experience. It really was incredible.
So then that was around what, late 80s, right? 80,
Uh,
89.
586, something like that, because
Okay.
it had to be, early 86 or late 85, because my when I got the call to go audition for Ozzy, that was replacing Jakey Lee in 1986.
Yeah.
So that's when that whole situation happened, I believe.
That was a rough one for you.
Well, it was a rough one, but once again, I look at all these as great experiences, and I'll tell you why. Most people would have given up if I've been very blessed to have a lot of doors open, even though the doors have shut on me. I've come very close to some pretty major success in a lot of ways. If I had never had an opportunity where like a door would have opened, I probably would have got out of the business a long time ago. I can't say that for sure, because I absolutely love playing guitar more than anything in the world. And
That is a success right there. You play guitar for a living. That is a success. I mean,
yeah, I mean, I guitar is like an arm to me. It's part of me. So honestly, I can never see myself not playing guitar, but a lot of people would have just gotten very discouraged. But I never looked at those things as I looked at them as disappointments. Yes, they were disappointments, but I had so many opportunities where that door just kept opening. And then I just knew that someday it was just going to open, you know?
yeah.
So, I mean, look at Ozzy they already started working with Zach. I was endorsed by Kramer Guitars at the time, and Kramer was the biggest company on the planet during the 80s. I was their only unsigned artist. The president of Kramer took me on personally. He saw me play, Dennis Berardi. Floyd Rose, the guy who invented the Floyd Rose tremolo, saw me play first and loved the way I played. And he told the president of Kramer about me.
Wow. Was it like a NAMM? Was it a NAMM show or something he saw you?
No, but it was at a local music store right here in Connecticut, where they, these Creative Strings, it was called, right on the Berlin Turnpike. It was right in, but we were a Kramer dealer. So Floyd Rose and the president were going around to all their dealers, their New England dealers, because the Kramer company was in New Jersey. So they were stopping by and saying hello. And I did a little clinic when Floyd Rose was there, jam with a drummer and a bass player. And he loved it. And I didn't even they didn't even make a left-handed Floyd Rose back then. I had to convert a right-handed model left-handed. I had to take a righty model and bring it to a machine shop and have a hole drilled to the other side, because obviously I play left-handed.
I do, and I was going to ask you about that too.
Yeah, it's a nightmare getting guitars. It always has. It still is to this day. It's
really never, still now.
Yeah, I mean, I've had hundreds of great guitars too. I've gotten rid of so many, and I wish I hadn't. But I've been blessed like that. But still, it's one of those things where like I'm looking at your collection of guitars right now. I can't walk over to your house right now and pick up one of your guitars. I'll have to play it upside down.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
still sound better than me. I've only just started learning. My kids play, so.
Well, it's like walking into Guitar Center, and there's 500 guitars up on the wall, and I can't play a one. They maybe have one lousy left-handed guitar over in the far corner buried someplace. So being left-handed is a real drag. But anyways, the company took me on, gave me all kinds of guitars, and I was sitting around on a Wednesday morning. My phone rings, and it was the president of Kramer Guitars, and he says, "Jimmy, Ozzy is looking for a guitar player, and we sent your tape out and to Sharon Osbourne, and she wants you to come to L.A. So we're flying you out to L.A. They're flying you out."
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay." I said, "Well," I said, "this is incredible." I says, "When am I going?" I said, "Next week or, in a couple of days." They said, "No, today." It was like the same day. I literally had to get a flight that day. They booked it and I flew to California. When I got to LA, I heard there was like 500 people that had auditioned for this thing.
Ugh.
Yeah. But Ozzy didn't sit through all those. Only the bass player and drummer had to sit through all those. But
was it was it Randy and Geezer at the time?
No, it wasn't Geezer. It was
Phil.
Yeah, Phil. Yeah. So Randy, it was Randy and Phil. So I played, but the thing was, what made my audition different is that Sharon Osbourne sat there while I played, because she wanted to see if what she saw in the videotape was actually, what I played like. Right. So I nailed it. I did incredible, and she was very impressed. And they took the next day. We went to a different studio where then Ozzy came down.
Okay.
So that's when I got to play about 4 or 5 songs with Ozzy on this, big stage.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was great. And when I got done playing, Ozzy and Sharon sat down with me and said, it's between you and Zach. We want to keep you overnight. So they took me out to dinner at this beautiful restaurant. I went back to Ozzy's place that they were renting. I met his youngest daughter at the time, Amy.
Yeah.
And then the band, then Randy took me out to the Troubadour that night. And the next morning I woke up to a phone call just saying that they were bringing me to the airport. So I don't know exactly, they might've thought about it and just decided to stay with Zach. No, I had met Zach while I was out there. Zach came to my hotel room and we played. So that was my first time getting to hang out with him, and he really liked the way I played a lot. And it was great to hang with him. Very.
I have a theory about that. I think because he was more in the vein of Randy.
Yeah.
Looks and sound.
Yeah,
I mean, there's already a Prince of Darkness. You actually would have been in competition with Ozzy. He was much more of a pretty boy at the time, and he's actually rebelled now with his big old beard and he's a Viking now.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He's got, Zach looked like Randy a little bit. The blonde hair
at the time, especially.
Yeah. Some people made little gestures, saying, "Gee, Jimmy, you probably didn't get the gig because you're left-handed," and Tony Iommi was left-handed. Oh yeah,
that's pretty funny.
I said I doubt that's the reason, but so
I do think it probably came down a big thing of her visualizing you on stage, because she's a whole production mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she's all big picture, and just it's Randy, and that was the thing.
Yeah, and here, the thing is that I get asked a lot about this. All my life I have. It was great to come in second for this. It really was to be, but then again, it wasn't. It's one of those things. It's like I almost wish it hadn't gotten that close. I mean, I'm honored that it got that close, but then again, I wish.
But you got to play with them. You've got a relationship with Zach. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, who else came that close to being with Ozzy, being down to that?
I mean, literally,
Sharon's opinion is what it was. It was Sharon's opinion made that decision. That was it.
Yeah, and literally, I mean, I was taken out to dinner. Ozzy took me out to dinner. I mean, I'm sitting in a restaurant with him and Sharon, and going back to the house. It was these are all great experiences.
I think so.
But yeah. So, I obviously I didn't hear anything for a little bit. So I knew I didn't have it. And then of course they announced that Zach was it. And then, as luck would have it, a little bit later, Sharon really liked my videotape. That's
Yeah.
the one you got to know. So a little bit later, I get a call, and I pick up the phone, and it's this English, this chap with an English accent. It's Geezer Butler calling me, and I didn't believe it for a second, but he's telling me that he's putting together a band, not as heavy as Black Sabbath, but he wants to do something a little bit more commercial. And Sharon gave him my videotape.
Wow.
So, I ended up flying to St. Louis. Geezer had a house in St. Louis and in Birmingham, England. So they flew me to St. Louis first. He picks me up at the airport. For some reason, I don't know. It was just getting off the plane. I was expecting somebody standing there with a sign, and then bringing me to Geezer. I wasn't expecting to see Geezer standing there at the airport to pick me up. It was kind of like, wow.
He's a Birmingham guy, right? They call him Burmese or the Bullies or something from Birmingham. Yeah. He's a real man.
Yeah. He's great. It's incredible. So he just brought me, we didn't even leave the place. We went right to a pub there. He wanted to have a beer. So we stopped there. And so it was, I did that, flew home. Next thing I know, I'm going to England. And I started rehearsing with him in London. We recorded some stuff, and then we moved to a new rehearsal studio in just outside of Brighton.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I wrote the song "Master of Insanity." He came to me and says, can you write a song similar to a Black Sabbath song? And I had been working on something. So I wrote the song "Master of Insanity." I titled it. He wrote the lyrics, but I wrote all the music, every bit of it, and came up with the title. I told him this title I had, and he liked it. So we showcase. We go home. The guy that signed us got in trouble with something. He did something with the record label, whether he embezzled money or whatever. He got fired. All of his bands got fired. It was one of these things, and we had just signed with him. So, so once again, that was another chapter closed. But I got in 1992 or 93, Black Sabbath is getting back together with Ronnie Dio.
Okay.
Singing, doing the Dehumanizer record. So I get a call from Geezer's wife. She goes, "Jimmy, how you doing? I have great news. We're going to use your song, Master of Insanity, on the new Black Sabbath record." And I went like, "Oh my God, this is absolutely incredible." I was so thrilled. And she goes, "But there's a problem." There's always a problem, She says, "We can't give you songwriting credit because Tony Iommi will never let a song written by another guitar player on a Black Sabbath record. So we have to say that Geezer wrote it." And she says, "Geezer will put you in his special thanks on the record," which he did. "And we will pay you for the song when the tour is over." So what was I going to say? Well, I can't.
Yeah.
I was pinned against the corner. I wasn't going to fight it. I'd rather have the song out there and be able to tell the story years down, for years. So they go off, record gets released. My song gets great reviews. It gets mentioned in a lot of the songs as being one of the better songs on a record. I go see Black Sabbath live in the area. They came to Boston and to Hartford. They're playing the song live. They're even doing it. So it's not even like it's a B cut, it was like a song that they liked to play. And the tour gets over, and I never received a dime.
Ah.
Never.
makes me wonder how many other songs after the first couple albums
Yeah.
went like that from other writers. You know, that was probably one of their better albums with Dio singing too. I
Yeah.
think Hit or Miss. That was a strong album.
Yeah. I like Dehumanizer a lot. I really
Yeah,
do.
I do too. I think it's underrated.
Yeah. It's got some really good tracks. There's even a song on there. The opening number is called Computer God.
Yes.
And we have a version. When I first went to England with Geezer, he had another song. Matter of fact, it's up on, if you go to my, Jimi Bell, you type in Computer God, it'll come up. Yeah. There's a video playing it with Geezer. It's a whole different version. The only thing that's the same is the title. So they kept the title and made a much heavier song for the Dehumanizer record. But, once again, that was an unbelievable experience getting to play with Geezer. He's one of the best bass players I ever, performed with in my life. Watch him play up close. I mean, you see him play in videos and, he's thunderous. So that was a great experience for me,
That is really good, man. That is cool. So that was in the early 90s, right?
Yeah. And then I went through a period where there really honestly wasn't a hell of a lot going on. I put together, ended up putting together another Joint Forces, a version to it with a different singer, Livio Gravini. And we had some great songs with that band. That version of Joint Forces had better songs. But by that time, it changed a little bit. We never we were never as popular as we were. There were other bands out now.
Well, wasn't it that the musical landscape was changing too, right? Because now we're talking the 90s, right, with grunge and stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, we're late 80s.
Oh, we're still okay.
Yeah, late 80s, very early, like extremely early 90s. But the music was changing, and Joint Force wasn't. But we had great songs. We really did. And but the band just didn't. It's hard to say. I loved playing with it. It just didn't. It didn't take off like the first thing. The first version of it was like a phenomena. It was like one of the things. When we came out, it was the right time. When we tried to, revamp it, quite a few years later, it just it wasn't the same effect. But you know what? It was still a great band, and we had a lot of good times. And once again, we did a bunch of showcases. We had one song that Livio wrote, I Want to Fly, Angel, I Want to Fly. And he originally wrote it on acoustic, and then we made it an electric song. And all these big record companies heard it and really had liked it. So we thought, wow, this is it. We have a song, one of our own songs that they really like.
Yeah.
But we went and showcased in New York, and it was just something about the band. We never found out. There was just something about the band that they just didn't take us. So it's, I don't know. These are all crazy experiences,
Yeah. And that was the time I can say, I followed you along, by locally hearing about you and went to college for production recording, and went down to Atlanta for like 2 years, came back like 90s. That's when Alice in Chains, I was heard Pantera when I was down in Atlanta. So that's what I was thinking. The music scene was really starting to go fast.
Yeah.
And then came back, and there really wasn't a lot of studios, except for there was somebody in Manchester who had a little studio, Mr. Michael Karpiak, Mr. Michael Vane. You know what I'm talking about? The little studio he had in Manchester.
Yeah.
That little gray thing there. So I in your face, yeah. So I ended up kind of like an intern-ish thing for him for a while. Oh. And he spoke of you in high regards, because that's
him and I went way back, even when he was in Cryer, and I knew Michael before he even got in Cryer, so that was we're talking many years.
Yeah, I stayed with him for that. Then he moved out to Canton. He made that new studio. Did you ever go to that one?
Yeah, he had a nice studio in Canton, and then he went to Arizona, and he
I didn't
actually,
go for that one. I didn't go. I'm like, I can't move.
yeah, he actually went to Arizona, and he got to meet his. Michael always knew things about I got to say about. He had these predictions about things. Like he predicted, like he got me into wrestling, WWE wrestling, and
Yeah.
he always said when we would watch it, he would say somehow that rock and roll and this were going to merge somehow. He knew that, and it did. Things ended up happening where somehow music got more intense with wrestlers, and right down, because I've done a lot of music for WWE. Yeah. So, but that was way later. But it was just so funny to see how. Because I remember Cyndi Lauper and Ozzy getting involved with the wrestling thing, and then they started, taking songs, entrance music from all other famous bands, for wrestlers' entrance music. So, and he also had a prediction about Judas Priest. Michael followed Judas Priest from the very beginning. He there was something about that band that he said this is going to be something. And he finally in Arizona got to meet Rob Halford, and I know that meant a lot to him.
I bet, yeah, because he was like with wasn't the guitarist for Halford was also the tattooist or something, and through Mike. Yeah, that's a pretty cool situation. Yeah, Mike was great to work in a studio too. I liked working with him in a studio, and working with his band that he had then too. He had a little band he was working on. That was a good band. He was good to learn from too.
Yeah, he was very good. I mean, I forgot he used to record us way back. He had one of these first, I don't know what it was, this little Studio Master or something.
Like a DAT?
Yeah.
Little DAT tapes? Yeah.
He did this like way back, this first little 4-track thing. We were recording upstairs in his house, and it was like, wow. We were doing some pretty good stuff.
If the right space, he would have actually been a really big producer. Like he had a really good sound.
Yeah.
Okay. Like working with that was a really, really, really enjoyable. And I didn't see him for a while. And the last time I saw him, we got together. We went to see King's X, and he knew Doug. It was King's X. It was a long time ago now. Ronnie James Dio was Dio, King's X playing together. I think it was.
Oh yeah.
It was an interesting show. It was a weird lineup, I think, actually. But King's X are hard to line up with anybody. But afterwards, he knew Doug, so we went back and saw Doug from King's X.
Yeah, great band. Great.
Yes, they had another underrated band, right? They've talked about Hard Knocks, right?
Yeah. Killer.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, you're not alone.
Yeah. No, I'm not alone. It's one of these things. Like I said, all these things just kept me going. So I did. I started changing. I started like. I wanted to branch my guitar playing off into some different things. I got into country music. I got into country guitar players a lot. I still love country guitar players.
Okay.
Albert Lee and all these cats that, play that real chicken picking stuff. That always fascinated me. So I actually started, buying Telecasters and, just working on that style. Finally, I was sorry about that.
Yeah, good time.
I was playing, different styles of music for a while. And then in 1999, I got a call from my buddy, BJ Zampa, this incredible drummer. And he was doing a record for this guy, Ted Bullitt, who was in this band Thunderhead out of Germany. Now, Ted was originally from around here, but then went to Germany and did this band Thunderhead, this heavy metal band from over there. And Ted was doing a new record, and they wanted me to play guitar on it. So I did the record, and it got released on a good label. And we got offered a tour with Metal Church. So here we are. We're going to head out to Europe with Metal Church. So I I had to go back to a rock and roll kind of look. You know, I hadn't dyed my hair or anything for a while. I just kind of let it go gray and, you know, whatever. But yeah, so that's what happened. That record in 1999, I got back into doing, you know, heavy rock.
Yeah.
And it just took off from there. From there, you know, we went on tour with Metal Church. The singer Metal Church would watch me play guitar every night. And we were on a double-decker tour bus over there, both bands. And he would come up and talk to me and say, look, I'm only doing this one tour. I'm going to do a solo record. I want you to play guitar. So I said,
at the time, I remember his, I can't get his name.
David Wayne.
Yes.
David Wayne. He was the original singer of Metal Church. Yeah. They got back together to do this album, Masterpiece. And so there, you know, so he, the next thing I know, I'm flying home from the tour, and he's already calling, you know, about, you know, we got to do this, you know, we're going to do this record. And I wrote all these songs for this, the Wayne's Metal Church, they called it. They titled it Metal Church, Wayne's solo record.
Right.
And that was a great experience. That record did really good. And once again, this was another great thing to have. And then I did a couple things with Mike Tessera, who's he was in a band in the New Haven area a long time ago called Obsession. And then, but then he became the singer for Yngwie Malmsteen and the Japanese band Loudness.
Okay, those two guys. Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, we did a couple records, and then the next thing in 2005, I get a call from James Christian about House of Lords. He says they're going to put House of Lords back together, and he says we have to go back to the melodic rock sound. And he says to me, have you ever written a melodic rock song? And I just said yes. I didn't even know what a melodic rock song was, but I said yes. I wanted to do something. So it was great. I wrote some songs and they just happened to fit really well. He needed a drummer. I says, I got the drummer, because I really liked working with BJ. And it was one of these things. So I just got him in the band, and then we worked together ever since. So you know, House of Lords for the last 15 years. I've done 8 records with them, written most of them, along with BJ. You know, we work together. We have a great writing system. You know, ever since, like I said, 1999, I was working with BJ, and it opened up it opened up a good partnership. Him and I, we just did everything. So basically, I'll come to him with a full song or most of a song, and I'll play it for him, and he'll say, yeah, that's, you know, he'll either like it a lot or.
Is he around here though?
Yeah, he's right. He lives, you know, like 7 miles from me. He lives in Newington. He's actually played drums for Dokken now. So
oh, Mick left.
Yeah. And actually my old, both of them, Chris McCarville was my bass player and was the bass player in House of Lords. I got him in House of Lords. He had left to play with Dokken for a little bit. And then when Mick went out on tour with Ted Nugent for a bit, BJ, that was a few, you know, years back, BJ went and filled in for that. So that's how Don made the connection with BJ. So when Mick finally left again, he called BJ, and House of Lords hasn't done too much. But anyways, our like I said, our songwriting method's, you know, pretty good. I write complete song and I bounce it off him. He's a great arranger. He'll either take parts, move them around, or he'll say it's good the way it is, or he'll tell me, you know, flat out that he doesn't like the song. What else do I have? You know, which is great. And we usually did about, for every House of Lords record, I did anywhere from 15 to 18 songs. And then, you know, you pick 10 10, maybe 11. And that's how it goes. So, I've gotten a tour all over the world, everywhere that you could ever imagine, except for Australia. I've never been to Australia. Almost, though. We were almost there. But I played Tokyo, Japan, which was my biggest thing I ever did. We played the Loud Park Festival. That was insane. With Slayer, Anthrax, and all these, and House of Lords is not that type of band, but they had a few other bands of our genre, our style of music on there as well.
Okay.
So, it just worked out, and it was amazing. I never seen anything like that in my life, playing for the Japanese audience. I think about it every day still. It was just one of the greatest things I ever did. So basically, we've done a lot of tours, and but the thing with House of Lords is, like, I think BJ and I really wanted to tour more. We wanted to tour a lot, and we tried to keep, like, we put together this band Max Explosion, which was me, BJ, and Chris McCarville. So in between House of Lords tours, we had this band, which was unbelievable, Max Explosion. Did 2 records with them on John Kivel's label. And, the band, we did some festivals with that band. We actually did open for ourselves. Like, what we did was Max Explosion opened for House of Lords. So we played, and then we just, brought up James over in Europe a couple times. It was great. But, we had to try and stay busy. So, we have all these other local bands. Beyond Purple is a very special band to me. That's a tribute to the Deep Purple family tree. We got incredible singer Mike Gill, Mark Zito on keyboards, Brian Camilleri plays bass, and BJ's on drums, and myself. And that band does the Deep Purple family tree.
I'll have to see you guys when we're out of this.
Basically,
I love Purple.
Yeah, well, yeah, and the thing that's the best thing about it is that we do Deep Purple, and then we go into Rainbow with all the different singers Rainbow had. Then we go to Whitesnake, and so anything that we could possibly do that formed off of Deep Purple, because there's countless bands. Yeah. I mean, you're talking, from Deep Purple, you go into Richie Blackmore. Richie Blackmore had Ronnie Dio, Graham Bonnet, Joe Lynn Turner. You're talking Glenn Hughes. There's all kinds of projects, all the different projects that David Coverdale did. Page and Coverdale. The list could go on. You could, Graham Bonnet did Alcatraz with Yngwie. So I mean, you could really, and if you wanted to go even more crazy about it, Ian Gillan did Born Again with Black Sabbath.
That was a good album.
Yeah. So, you could actually go there with that whole thing too. And Dio Black Sabbath. So, we have a lot of fun with that band. There's other bands, Wicked Gypsies, Diamondback, Bottoms Up, Straight Shooter, just all these other bands that we put together to stay busy, but no one's doing anything right now.
How do you balance that? All those from bands, like, to schedule, and is it because you guys all sort of the same band together?
We tried to keep them as busy as possible. We were doing pretty good. We were there was a point where we were all playing quite a bit and doing all right. But then things started getting a little crazy. And finally, I was still, House of Lords was the thing I was really trying to push a lot. I really wanted to tour. We all did. We wanted to tour. I don't know if James was on the same level, wanted to tour as much as we were, the singer. But me and BJ really wanted to play. We were, kept trying to do something. So he had an opportunity to go with Doc, and so that's what happened. And then I was sitting there, and I happened to look on Facebook one morning, and I saw that I became friends with Autograph, the guys, you know, when they played around town. And I had met Steve Lynch years ago.
Yeah.
So I was friends with him on Facebook, and he made this big announcement that he was quitting the band. He didn't want to play Autograph anymore. He started a new band. So I got in touch with Randy Rand, the bass player, the original bass player. And he already knew how I played. And I said, Randy, I know you're getting a whole bunch of calls probably right now, but I want a chance to audition for Autograph. They gave me 3 songs. I learned them instantly and asked for more. I think the fact that I was so driven that I wanted the gig, that I learned the whole set, all the harmonies, vocal harmonies, everything. So that just, you know, really impressed them. So what turned into 3 songs, Randy calls me, he says, you're just going to do the next 3 gigs with us and let's just see how it goes. Because they had 3 shows booked. And I was going like, oh my God, okay. So I go out to LA on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. We were practicing, had a gig, my first show on Friday. Tuesday, I fly in on Tuesday and we still rehearse that day. First song, boom. That was it. They knew I was their guitar player.
Nice.
That we played together. It was one of those things. Oh, sorry. We had a magic that doesn't happen a lot, but it was just, there was a chemistry that happened instantly when we were playing. And I look for that. I really do. It's one of those things that it's a gift when that happens. That band sounded like we had been playing together for years. And it was my first time stepping in a rehearsal room with, sounded like literally we had been together for years. So it was great. And it's been incredible so far. I mean, I had an entire summer booked with all these great shows. And of course, you know, with COVID and everything, but I've got to do some great gigs with them so far. I got a show coming up right now in December 4th with them. So.
Oh yeah, where?
Fort Myers, Florida, with us and Great White. Yeah, so it's one of those things.
How are the crowds now that you're a different guitar player in the band?
I bet they have accepted me. Their fans have accepted me incredibly. They made me feel so welcome because I you know, I had to really step it up. Steve's an icon guitarist.
Yes.
So I couldn't go in there and just, you know, hack, you know, just not care. I went in there, you know, with everything perfect. They let me do all my own solos except for turn up the radio. They said, you know, that's the only one. And you can't change that solo anyway. So,
yeah.
So that's one of those things, you know, I went there and really kicked ass. My first show with them in Woodstock, Virginia, was just absolutely amazing. The whole show's on somebody recorded the whole show. If you type in Autograph Jimi Bell, the whole concert's up there.
I've seen some. I've looked up some footage.
Yeah,
some good stuff.
It's amazing. It really is. I couldn't have asked for a better first show with them. And I love the guys. I love being on stage with them. I love working with them. I love writing with them. It's great.
Where is it really located though? That's always a question. Like if you're in so many bands and like I imagine people are located everywhere. How does all that get coordinated without stepping onto those toes?
Yeah, it's difficult. Simon, the singer, and Mark, the drummer, are, you know, in LA. Randy's in America, and I'm up here. So basically, when it's showtime, we all practice to that video, the one that the guy that recorded the whole first set, the whole concert. That's how we rehearse. I stand up with the guitar plugged in and play along to that. It's what we could do. It's all we could do at the moment because we're not together now. if the opportunity does arise that the guys will come in to something early and we could rehearse, then we will do it. We always get sound check. I mean, we always do sound checks and play for a while. But, you know, like when we play in Connecticut coming up in July, if they happen to come up, if they want to come up a couple of days early, I got places I could rehearse with them, you know,
Yeah.
that are with me. So that's a possibility right there. But we released the single, Souls on Fire. It's the first one of the first tracks that I've got to do with them since being in the band. Great track, real, you know, straight ahead rock driven song. So I'm looking forward to doing a lot more, you know.
That's really great, really cool. It's gonna be weird now with all the labels though, and like getting them signed to a label and putting a record out. And is it well, earlier on it's a little different now for you now when they do record labels? Is it different?
Yeah, everything's different. House of Lords, we have a really good record label. We're with Frontier. We've been with there. They have every band from the 80s, you know, that's, you know, kind of signed.
They're saving the genre right now on some level.
Yeah, they are. They're a great label, great guys. But it's totally different, you know. You're not getting money. You're not. It's hard to collect money. It's hard to get anything nowadays.
Yeah.
I mean, you could pretty much do it if you have some money. You could do exactly what the record labels are doing. They buy you know, the record label will put together, you know, they put you know, you record the record, they master it, they get the disc made, and then there's these, you know, distribution centers, these people, these promotion things, these companies that will do everything. Cargo, I don't know if it's cargo, but they put together all these big promos, and you could do the same thing. You could buy packages from these people. Like if you had a wad of money, you could go to them and say, I want this much promotion. Here's here's $5,000. What package can you get me? What can you do? And it's the same thing that these companies do, you know. So
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, but you're a busy guy. So now COVID must do you like? Are you just like writing songs now? Stocking up
a lot. I'm writing a lot of songs, but I'm constantly practicing. I'm doing a lot of work in the. I have to do a bunch of work at my mom's house actually for her, helping her out. So I've been going back and forth with that, and I've been on a workout thing. I'm very much into health. I've lost 30 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, I walk roughly 9 miles a day. I average 400 to 500 sit-ups a day.
What?
Yeah,
500?
I do 200 in the morning right off the bat, and then every time I hit the floor, I do 100. So I'll get on the floor, you know, 4 or 5 times a day, but every time I hit the floor, I'll do 100 sit-ups.
Wow.
So, and you know, I had to change my whole intake of food, you know, especially with COVID, you know, things were, I was sitting around, you know, watching some TV and grabbing a little this, grabbing a little that. And, you know, the last show I'd done with Autograph was the Monsters of Rock cruise in last February. And then COVID hit, and then we had a show that was still going to happen in June. So I went to, you know, I packed all my stuff, went to Colorado where the show was, and I'm getting dressed, and I noticed my stage clothes were tighter. And yeah, I hadn't tried them on. I looked at myself, and I didn't like the way I looked. You know, and there were a few pictures of me, and I looked a little beefy, you know. So I made it a point after that. I said, I gotta, you know, wheel it in again. So started eating a lot of raw celery and carrots with a little salt and pepper. I was doing that and really had cut back. Now that I went down to the weight that I want to be at, every once in a while I have a little something, but I'm never going to be able to be one of those guys that can just eat whatever I want. And
you at a certain age, though, you can't. You know what I mean? Like I was a real skinny guy. Like, tell you, man, like was it my 40s, 45? I could eat anything all day long.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, boom.
Yeah. I mean, I'm 62. My metabolism's totally changed. So it's, you have to really watch what you do, and exercise is important. But if you don't change your eating habits, exercise doesn't do a thing. Because I was walking 9 miles a day, sometimes even more, and my weight wasn't changing. And I was going, what the hell's going on here? Why I'm doing all this walking and happening. Well, I hadn't changed my eating habits. So that's, all.
So you haven't been on stage yet since you changed, huh? All the exercise.
I did. Well, I played.
You're a madman.
Yeah, I forgot. I did a show. Was it Iowa? I believe I did one show in not too long ago, and I was already starting to lose the weight. But this show in 2 weeks will be my first time out there skinny. In fact, I'm even dressing different for it. I've been wearing blazers for a long time. I like a blazer look. Don't get me wrong, but I also did it to kind of cover. Just
very forgiving.
Yeah. So now I'm having just a button shirt and a vest because I tried it on, and I'm at a point with my weight that I could get away with it, and that's a good feeling.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm gonna dabble in something a little different on this next gig.
I think that's really good. I think it's good for you. I think it's also better. You're probably gonna feel better after the show too. Your energy levels can just way better. I mean, if you're eating differently, you're exercising.
Yeah, it makes a difference, and I mean, I have all kinds of energy during the day. I really do, and I'm not I never stay up late. I'm one of these guys. I'm in bed very early. I'm not one of these. But I don't drink. I haven't drank in years. Drink, drugs, anything like that, in so many years. I'm up at 5 o'clock every morning. I'm having my coffee at 5 a.m. every single morning, and I'm practicing my guitar at 5 a.m. I keep a guitar ready to go.
Yeah.
And while I'm having coffee, I start doing some stuff. And I like to bring my fiance Mandy to work because she's a director at a hospital, and they changed the entrances to the hospital during COVID. So I didn't want her walking. She has a separate building, but they weren't allowing people to go into that building. So they would have to walk to the main entrance of the hospital. So I didn't want her walking, doing that. So I've been bringing her to work every day. And then I come back and really start my routine. It's a daily thing every day. It's 3 guitar players. I mean, there were many.
You mean.
Yeah, there were 3 guitar players that made a huge impact in my life. Number 1 was Johnny Winter. Johnny Winter was a huge influence on me when I first started. He was the first guitar player I heard because I was a drummer.
All right.
At the time.
What's your favorite album by him?
My favorite, Johnny Winter, and it's a live album. It's got Rick Derringer on it.
Third Degree is mine.
Third Degree is yours? Yeah.
That is such a good album. It's awesome.
Have you ever heard the live album, Johnny Winter and it's called?
I don't know.
Oh my God. By far,
I'll check it out.
By far some of the greatest guitar playing you'll ever hear. It's a live album. It has Good Morning Little Schoolgirl, It's My Own Fault. Their version of Jumpin' Jack Flash is just outstanding.
I was listening to Edgar and Johnny's live album they had together. The other night I listened to that.
the Roadwork album, the
Yeah.
Edgar. Oh my God,
So
incredible.
good, right?
Road. Oh my God, Edgar is mind blowing.
He is,
Yeah. So I had Johnny Winter,
yeah.
and then I discovered Richie Blackmore, obviously, and that was the guy that really changed my life. And then the one that really put the icing on the cake was Al Di Meola. When I discovered who Al Di Meola was and his picking technique. And I heard of John McLaughlin, and I thought John McLaughlin was incredible. But then I heard Al Di Meola, and there was just something about Al Di Meola I liked a little bit better. Both were incredible guitar players. It was just something about his whole picking thing that really. So I had taken those three guys and created my style. So all my fast picking, all my technique, all that was, just from Al Di Meola type stuff. That's why back, way back in 1981, 82, when I popped back onto the Connecticut scene, I, all of a sudden I was playing, that stuff, and no one had, nobody had heard of that, heard a guitar player playing like that, because that wasn't, nobody was just copying on that style. So that's kind of what helped launch my, whatever popularity or whatever, or the respect other guitar players gave me. Let's put it that way.
No, you have it. I mean, it's not, not bragging. It's just be honest. You've had a good reputation. Like I said, knowing about you from when I was like 17 or 18, I'm 50 now. So there's, you were starting to just rock it off as I was just learning about you, coming in like on the band rooms and stuff. And then I left. And there's like about 10 years that lull you had, you doing other things, or I didn't really hear from you much.
Yeah.
And I came back. But like, I'd still hear about you through like, I follow like hard rock and music. I listen to everything, but online music, you hear Jimi Bell's doing this or that, or someone just saw you at a show or something. I was impressed the other day, and they're like, "Yeah, I saw some band and did some covers. There's just all kinds of crazy songs." And he goes, "Oh, Jimi Bell was on guitar."
Yeah, I just do all kinds of, I just love to play. I really do.
You're like the Kevin Bacon of rock in Connecticut. I mean, there's like 8 degrees there.
Yeah.
With Jimi Bell.
Yeah. It's crazy.
That's a good thing.
So the shred neck now.
Yes, the shred neck.
Okay, well that was that's kind of a funny story. I busted this hand, which is my fretboard hand. This knuckle, I damaged this knuckle, and I had to be in a half cast. So I had these two fingers exposed, and these two were in a. So when I got the cast off, I wanted something to rebuild strength a little bit. And, they had these things, riff grips, they had spring stuff. And I liked it. I mean, for the size wise, because you could, just have it anywhere. But when I used it, my hand felt real tight. Like when I let go of it, I said, this isn't what my hand feels like after hours of practicing. I wanted something that made my hand feel like that I had just practiced an hour. So I came up with this idea about having a little piece of a neck, something with real strings, even though it didn't tune. I just wanted to have real strings to run my fingers across. And I wanted tuning gears on it so I could adjust the tension of the strings. So like if I wanted the tension real tight, or if I wanted it loose, like if I wanted to, see, the whole purpose of the shred neck, it's like working out with weights. It's a practice tool. You can't tune it to pitch. The one, the model that I started off with, it's made to run your fingers on, do pull-offs. You can even do taps, like you can practice tapping sequences like that. But one of the things I like to do is I take the strings and I pull them and I dig them, into my fingers to keep my calluses strong. So I'll take them and pull on them. And that keeps your callus strong. So basically, it's a unique tool to have when you can't have a guitar with you.
What's it made out of?
It's wood. It's
wood.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's not a cheap plastic one. Other ones.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I started playing guitar. I'm just going for recording, took a break. But when I came back, my kids were playing instruments past couple of years. You can see around me. And I picked up an Ibanez. So I said, I'm going to start learning guitar. But I wanted something small to put in my bag. So I saw a bunch of those things out there. And I remember yours, but I got like a really cheap one. And I didn't end up using it. My grandson plays with it now. Because like it's plastic and you can't. I didn't expect to tune it, but the weight of it, that's why I'm asking the weight, is really what felt off about it. The feel of it was what really bothered me the most. I mean,
yeah.
And I think I was going to put the money into it because I wanted to play guitar. I just wasn't small and I was just starting out,
The thing about the shred is really cool. A lot of people don't understand it though. Everybody holds it the wrong way. When I first came up with it, and I can understand why. When I first came up with it, it was a headstock and part of a neck. That's what I wanted. But I would put it on my lap and it was top heavy. It kept turning over because it had the headstock had tuners. So I ended up just putting the headstock on my lap and playing it like that. And that ended up being, you disappeared.
Hold on a second.
There you go.
Low battery mode.
Oh, okay.
Running low.
So yeah, it was top heavy. So I ended up we redesigned it. I found a buddy of mine saw it, thought it was incredible, so he made it into something. I just had one made for myself and was driving around in my car with it. And he's the one that brought it to life because he's in marketing.
I see a lot of guitars now with a bent that neck now bent in travel style now.
Yeah,
the full neck.
Now what it is, it's like you got a picture. You can no longer think of it, even though the tuners are on it. You have to pretend that the tuners are on a body. So pretend that headstock is the body because the neck is narrower at the top and then gets wider at the headstock. So you hold the head, you put the headstock, it's curved like that, goes onto your lap, and you run your fingers on it like that. So we have left and right-handed models. It's really good. Shredneck.com, www.shredneck.com.
I'll put that link up too for you.
No. Yeah. And of course, mine is Jimi Bell Guitarist.com. Well, I don't really have a favorite piece of gear. I had a buddy of mine made me small is what I need for traveling. I use stomp boxes. I'm very cool. I go into the front of the amp. It wasn't until I joined Autograph that I had to go back to using a Floyd Rose. I hadn't used the Floyd Rose tremolo in years. So I had to get guitars with Floyd Rose on them again. And I never used a delay in my life or a boost pedal, anything in the effects loop. Well, all that changed. When I got an Autograph, I had to have a whole thing made up where I used the effects loop of the amp. So I run my delay pedal and a little boost pedal for when I solo. So when I do a solo, my solos boost up a little bit because I always used an overdrive pedal, a Boss overdrive. I always used a wah-wah overdrive course. That's all I ever used in my life.
What's your main guitar though? You got a favorite brand at this point? I know it's probably gonna jump around from year to year.
Yeah.
Like what's your go-to?
Yeah, right now I'm using Charvels. I have two Charvels that I use, SoCals that I use for that, but I have custom guitars that are made for me. There's a new company called PVX. They're making me a Jimi Bell model, actually, that's absolutely amazing. And I should be having that almost this week, in fact. But I've had several guitars made by a buddy of mine, Dale Roberts, out of Jacksonville, Florida. who just makes incredible guitars. And there's another company called Viper Guitars out of California. So, you know, you got my buddy in Florida, my buddy in North Carolina, and Viper out of California. And so they, you know, I like working with these smaller companies because they want to do something good for you. And, you know, being left-handed, it seems to be the way to go for me. You know, and, you know, unless you're a huge, like I was surprised that I actually got the Charvel endorsement. You know, it really helped it with the autograph. But a lot of the companies, like for years,
Yeah.
even with Lords, I would have loved to have gotten Gibson because I was playing Gibson SG forever.
I love SG.
Yeah. And they don't want to know you. They don't want to know.
They got a lot of people.
I would, you know, with Epiphone, I would have liked to have gotten an Epiphone thing, but unless you're just like, you know, whatever. But hey, you got to be grateful for what you have.